Welcome back. National Planning Minister Trevor Manuel is adamant that civil servants should not do business with the state. This is in keeping with the National Development Plan's strategy to clean up corruption in the public service. Ministers in the Presidency briefed the media about the National Development Plan yesterday.
Civil servants allegedly looting public funds through state tenders, a sore point in government's anti-corruption talk. Last year, the Public Service Commission tabled a proposal to prohibit civil servants from doing business with the state. The National Development Commission has put its weight behind that call, but some in Labour say it may violate the right of civil servants to have businesses.
Legislation can trump that, and the legislation that should trump it is in fact the Public Service Act. And if there's any ambiguity, it's our responsibility with Parliament to ensure that that ambiguity is erased. So, in the first instance, no public servant should be able to contract with government at all.
Public reform proposals include cleaning up the process of awarding state tenders, with more scrutiny of tenders and potential conflicts of interest between officials and state business.
If anything, amongst the reforms that we would argue for very strongly is significant reform of supply chain management. It is the Achilles heel of government by any measure at the moment. In a funny kind of way, that too used to be very highly centralized through the State Tender Board. In the endeavor to modernize the public service, I think we've actually allowed for all manner of bad tendencies to take root.
Treasury is in the process of appointing a chief procurement officer who will scrutinize all major state tenders. With a vision for development of the country running up until the year 2030, government is pacing itself, identifying immediate and long-term goals.
The plan will then be broken up into chunks of 5 years, which will be aligned to the electoral cycle. That is meant, amongst other things, because as you know, that as parties go to elections, they identify their own priorities in their manifestos and so on. So they will have the opportunity, and now that they've agreed with the development plan, to see how they are going to utilize the development plan to identify things which they think will make us to achieve what has been agreed up, which have been agreed upon.
The earliest work of the National Development Plan is expected to take shape later this year.
The cycle of factoring in everything else for the next medium-term strategic framework will only happen and conclusively around July. There's a lot of negotiations and talking which needs to be done with various implementing agencies in the government, departments, provinces and municipalities, to ensure that all of us are aligned to the National Development Plan so that we're able to achieve what has been identified as the critical issues which the nation will have to forge ahead.
In the meantime, the Public Service and Administration Department is leading the pack with a commitment to change the public service, starting with reskilling civil servants. Asana Mbeche, SABC News, Parliament.
Well, that's all we have time for today. Join us again tomorrow morning when we bring you more coverage of the State of the Nation address. Until then, goodbye.